pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God.
And it was well attended also. We had the Circle of Truth at night. Thanks to Dee and her crew down at, they did a great job, and St. Agnes had their 100th anniversary. Coming up, we have Veterans Day, which is observed this Friday, but it's actually Saturday. Their Military Sea Museum has an event on Friday. And then Saturday is the disabled vets are putting on an event at Fireman's Field, and it's going to be kind of a big event. They've got a parade that's going to start at Fireman's Field, come down Commerce, and then go back up around the circle and head up towards Magnolia, and then back to the field. That's at 9:30 in the morning, and then they have an all-day event with bands and vendors and car shows, and you name it, they got it. They did a good job. They have the ARC has their derby on Friday night also, but Friday night our Blue Streak football team, high school team, is in their first regional game, and we're hosting it. They're district champions. They got a great year going. LeVar Scott and his group are doing a good job with the boys. They teach them how to be men also, which is kind of a unique thing to see, I think, from a coaching standpoint. But they play Westwood, I believe.
Team from Fort Pierce, yes.
Team from Fort Pierce, so that's our first regional game. They beat them pretty handily the last time they played them, so hopefully we'll go to our second regional game, and we don't know if it'll be a home game or not, but if you're not doing anything Friday night, go to ARC or go to the Derby or to the ball game. And then on the 14th, Tuesday, is New Hope's having their lunch for the elderly. Anybody over, Carl, you could go, because it's over anybody over 82 years old. I mean,
I'll serve you, man.
But if you didn't see the paper today, Chief is grandstanding. He showed him serving. He actually did some work last year at the field. So, but it's an event where a lot of political figures serve meals to the elderly in our community, and that's at the Jack Stroop Center this year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Is that where it is, Carl? Yeah. So, but that's the 14th. But that's just a few things until the next meeting. So then we'll cover the rest of the holiday events. If you notice that John Spiegel and his group are putting our lights up on the circle already. They do a great job every year. So they're getting ready for the Christmas parade.
Service going down there right now.
Yeah, you're right. There is a service. Is it First Sebring that's putting that on?
I don't know.
I can't remember. Anyways. So, but band on the circle, probably if we get out of here quick, we could all go down there. How does that sound? So, I move we adjourn. That's all I
I got
have.
a question. The Veterans event Friday at the museum, what time was that?
I think is it 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock? Is it noon? Okay, noon. I'm sorry.
Noon.
We have to ask our
I know I wanna go
PR
to that.
person in the back there. She's probably got about 100 more events she could throw at us, so but, Hannah's doing a good job. And I think is that the birthday for?
Marine.
Marines, right,
So it's noon.
yes.
at the museum. Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Well, how about councilman's comments and concerns? We'll start with the lady.
Good evening. So glad to see you all. Several meetings back, a young lady, Miss Janice Rarick, came and spoke to us about the Boys and Girls Club. So I called up Miss Vernetta Bolton this last week and went over. She gave me a tour of the Boys and Girls Club, and I actually stayed a couple of hours and kept her from working while she told me all about it and showed me all around. And then I came back, excuse me, in the afternoon and met a lot of the kids. And I was so impressed with the way the children loved on Miss Vernetta and also the other volunteers and workers there. And they do a great work for our community. And they have a few little projects they need taken care of. And so we're going to see if we can help them out. But that is a wonderful, wonderful ministry here, the Boys and Girls Club. So I'm very glad to become more aware and get over there and see what's going on.
They do a
That's all.
good job.
Yes, they do.
Harrison?
No report.
Mr. Bishop?
Yeah, I do actually. I went to the Halloween event on the Circle, and oof. That I can tell you, my brother told me that he gave out just about $1,000 worth of candy in about an hour and a half.
What? Wow.
It was a lot of people.
First Baptist gave out 2,000 hot dogs and sausages.
Yeah. And didn't serve but about 10% of the people there probably. But the other thing I wanted to touch on is Ag Ventures next week. They do have a steak dinner on Tuesday night. It's the best deal in town. It's an event, if you've never been, that teaches our elementary age students about agriculture in our community. So I've been doing it for, I think we're on our 23rd or 24th year. So it's a great event. One last thing I wanted to bring up is, we've had some conversation about proposals for more mobile home parks in the city limits, county, everywhere. And we've kind of had a preliminary stand that we really don't want any right now. The county had a workshop scheduled this morning that got postponed because their meeting went on for a century. But I wanted to get everybody's temperature to see if maybe we want to instruct staff and legal counsel to get something a little bit more concrete than just what we said during a meeting one time. I hate to say the word moratorium, but that's kind of where I'm headed. I'm not saying that I want to cancel any proposed or current zonings, but maybe put a curtail on any future zoning changes to mobile home parks and RV parks.
I'd be okay with that.
So that would be for the city limits? with
Correct.
our city
Correct.
limits?
I don't think that mobile homes are the direction we need to be going. We have close to 100 in the county right now, and I would like to see a little bit more brick and mortar development coming. These mobile home developers are pretty, they have a habit of selling them before they're even completed. So I know they don't have a vested interest in our community, and I just don't see them taking us in the direction that we would like it to go.
Can we get some guidance from Central
Yeah.
Florida Regional Planning Council? Maybe that's the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
If
I
that's
agree
it.
with you.
We all said it during that meeting that one time, but I think we need something a little bit more solid.
And there are certainly lots of issues that
Right.
be involved in it that we can bring back and share with council, if that's what you would like for us to look at.
Please do so. Do we need a motion or anything on that, or?
No,
No.
just direction of staff.
Okay.
And would one of the issues be the hurricane readiness of any kind of mobile homes that are already in our, or that's just,
I
that's
think that's already
already
in
a
the
deal?
building code, but it's
Right.
something
Yeah.
that we can make sure, yeah.
No, I'm talking about,
New.
for instance, we have a lot of orange groves that are going to be not functioning orange groves, and they are leaning more towards people trying to zone them for mobile home parks. And that's just not what I would like to see happen. And I think I share the same opinion as a lot of you up here.
You know, I think maybe it probably is a good idea to put the brakes on it within the city limits. However, our mobile home community, I love all those people.
I'm not saying that we're going to kick them out. I'm just
Yeah,
saying
I know.
that we need to put a pause on it.
I know, but I just don't want them to feel like we don't care for them or think they're second-class citizens.
Nobody's going backwards.
Yeah.
We're only talking
I've
about
had a
going
few
forward.
people address me on that, and so I just, yeah, I do agree it would be better for development to have perhaps go the brick and mortar route. I do agree with that. We do have a lot of mobile home developments already, and
90-something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's 90 to 100 in the county already.
yeah. How's the county, what's their stance?
They had a workshop scheduled today. Personally, I'm not really concerned with what the county does on this.
Yeah.
They postponed the workshop.
They postponed the workshop because their
They
meeting
want
ran
some-
long, but
yeah. Those meetings always go long,
yeah, I'm not overly concerned with what their direction is.
yeah.
They passed on a really good potential development today, in my opinion.
Alrighty.
Okey-doke.
That's it.
Thank you, and that's a great idea. Okay, well, thank you so much, guys. We have a consent agenda. I would like a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Is there any comments from the audience or up here on anything on the consent agenda? Kathy?
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes,
Stewart, I'm sorry, Carlisle.
Yes. Yes. Okay. That's out of the way. All right, no old business, new business is warranty deed and grant agreement to Truist Foundation, Mr. Nately. And,
So good evening, council. On your agenda is the warranty deed and grant agreement for the property located at 1901 US Highway 27 South to be maintained as a memorial park for a period of at least 10 years from the date of this agreement. As you're aware, the memorial was created by the SunTrust Foundation, now the Truist Foundation, to honor the victims of the mass shooting inside the former SunTrust Bank branch over 4 years ago. Per the attached agreement, the grantor will award the grantee, the city of Sebring, $250,000 to be used for maintenance of the property. We'll set up a separate fund to account for those dollars. Staff's asking council to accept the warranty deed and execute the grant agreement as presented.
thank you. Any comments?
Can't imagine anybody would have anything to say about this one.
Anyone from the audience want to speak? I need a motion.
I move to accept the warranty deed and execute the grant agreement as presented.
Second?
Okay, got a motion and a second. There's no comments. Kathy?
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Mendel,
yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Memorial request for the 5th anniversary of the SunTrust Bank shooting, Kevin O'Donnell. Would you like to come up and speak to us, please?
Thank you very much, appreciate it. January 25th, 23rd of next year marks the 5th anniversary of the terrible shooting at the bank. And we live real close to that, we drive by every day. And it's a shame, last year on the 4th anniversary, there's just a lot of cars in the parking lot, revving their engines, beeping their horns. There was no formal presentation. And what I would like to suggest is perhaps the Parks Department or somebody could organize a more formal event. Perhaps with an invocation, perhaps get the mayor to talk a little bit, police chief, anybody who wants to talk, family members if they're so inclined to get up there, talk about the lives of the loved ones that they lost in this terrible tragedy. I'm willing to help with this. I don't think I want to be the leader of it, but I'm willing to help organize it or do whatever's necessary. Last year I went and got a couple hundred of these decals, Sebring Strong decals, and passed them out, and I think that was about the only semi-formal thing that was done. And compliments to my wife here. She's been working with the SunTrust people to keep the lights on too, because at night it gets pretty dark. There's still some street lights that could get put on. So that's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Carl, you have something to say?
Mayor, council staff, good evening. Chief Hoagland for the record. I think as a point of clarification, it's important to note that perhaps the cars beeping in the parking lot and the lights in the vehicles are part of the Jessica Montague Memorial Ride that's happened for 4 years. She was a car enthusiast. Her family and husband have carried that tradition on every year, so that is an important piece. It is a memorialized event. Maybe not quite obvious to the public driving by. I certainly would not want to displace that portion of the event with something formal.
Thank you, I didn't know that.
Absolutely.
I just thought it was a bunch of people keeping the horns.
It is. Yes, sir.
I think her car leads the event. It goes up 27, so it's
Okay.
it's a parade.
I guess I was
They're honoring
suggesting
her.
something at
so.
Fireman's Field or someplace where everybody could have a presentation of the event in the ride.
I think that's a great idea if somebody would be willing to step up and put it together. I think we should remember that very tragic thing that happened.
I would think that it's going to require police support and a number of supports from Parks and Recreation. I would think maybe the leadership should be somewhere within the city, but I'd be willing to help with whatever's organized.
Any comments?
Unless somebody's ready to volunteer to take the lead, I don't
Yeah.
know that we,
It's a great idea. I like
It is a great idea.
Does the Parks Department take the lead on it?
That would be Mr. Steve back there. He was wanting to know if the Parks Department could take the lead on it. Sir? Okay. Well,
I think his staff will have to discuss
We'll
it.
work, they're just not typically in the event
Right,
planning.
right.
Yeah.
So-
We'd be more than happy to support what's going on, but it's usually not us to be the event organizers and then put on the actual event. But I mean, we would love to support if somebody would take on that lead.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yep. I'm not volunteering.
Can you come talk to us? Thank you, Mr. Cuffley. We thought you was volunteering.
No, that's why I'm saying no, but I'm willing to be a part of it, of course. But I was thinking, I know that the News Sun reporter is here tonight. Maybe a story in the News Sun about the desire for a memorial and reaching out to citizens for volunteers to help, or somebody to step up.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it is. You know, I definitely would hate for that anniversary to pass without us taking notice of it. It was such a tragedy in our city, yes.
So where do we go from here?
I think waiting and seeing what might develop, and we'll just try to see if somebody will step forward, and we can have some discussion with Mr. Kramer about it too. And maybe you would give me your contact number before you go. I'll give you
I'd be
mine.
willing to help, but I think it's going to require somebody to get police involvement. Is there insurance required? I don't know all the technicalities of what would be the first step, renting the hall or using the
Yeah.
hall.
Well, thank you for bringing it to our attention. We appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the State of Florida Department of Commerce Community Planning Technical Assistance Grant. That would be me, Mr. Swain, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and tell us who you are.
Marissa Barnby with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council.
Thank you. Tell us what you're up to.
Oh, okay. Again, for the record, Marissa Barnby with Central Florida Regional Planning Council. The city of Sebring was awarded a grant from the Florida Department of Commerce to complete the evaluation and appraisal report of your comprehensive plan, which is very good because you're required to do it. So having the money to fund it is always helpful. The evaluation and appraisal report is a requirement of the state. You're supposed to do it once every 7 years to take a look at your comprehensive plan. The legislature last year updated the state laws to say this new round of evaluation appraisal reports have to be a comprehensive analysis of your comprehensive plan, looking at how It addresses any state requirements that have been made since your last comprehensive plan update happened, ensuring that the level of service standards for things like roads and water and sewer are current and will address your future needs. And also, what your vision is and looking at all of those types of things, looking out. The state also changed the requirements for your comprehensive plan to be out to a 20-year horizon. So you have to have a 10-year current horizon, then a 20-year future horizon in your comprehensive plan. There is also a new requirement, related to an affidavit that you guys signed that says your comprehensive plan does these things, or we will make the amendments to make them happen, which is the second piece to this puzzle. So the grant that you guys received in your package today, you received a copy of the agreement with the Department of Commerce as well as an agreement with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council. We will be working with the city and the city staff to get this process done. This process will include generating data and analysis, generating an evaluation and appraisal report, holding public workshops to get public input, having information available on a website, and then having also a recommended comprehensive plan amendment list, so you know what has to happen in the second stage. We are very excited to work with you on this process. It is a very good thing to do and to push that horizon. Your current comprehensive plan horizon is 2030, so this will take it out to 2050.
Very good.
I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for all the work and all the grant funding.
Yes.
Making that happen. Helping.
Mr. Swain, you have anything to say?
Only thing to add, one of the things you're being asked to do is, of course, approve the grant agreement itself, but also the agreement with Central Florida Regional Planning Council. That document doesn't yet have, it's got a flat rate. What the grant actually requires is that it also include an hourly rate, and so I think if you would consider approving the Central Florida Regional Planning Council contract, subject to having that added, and that Central Florida staff is aware, and so this is an easy change, but subject to having that added, simply to be in compliance with the grant.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone from the audience want to speak? Council?
I move to approve the execution of the attached agreements as presented
I second it.
With the
Additional hourly
with the,
cost.
Right.
I'm sorry,
With the Central Florida Regional Planning Council agreement, with the inclusion of an hourly schedule, hourly rate schedule.
as council presented.
Second.
that.
And so you just negotiate that later, Bob? Is that how that goes, or?
You have a flat rate with them. This is just adding it in to make sure that the state thinks that the form of the contract between the city and Central Florida it complies with their grant.
Okay.
So it may simply be a list that they add to the back end of it. This is not Central Florida's first time.
Between the City of Sebring and the Marks Family Holding LLC. The background is at your June 6, 2023 meeting, council instructed the city attorney to draft a necessary ordinance and development agreement to annex an 87.66 acre parcel C16 3529 A 000041 0000 into the city. This property is owner requests annexing and will result in the property being zoned for county from county B3 to and AU to city C1 and C2 as presented at the June 6th meeting. This development agreement is the first step in the process, which will be followed by an annexation ordinance and then a larger scale comprehensive plan amended for the county commercial and ag to city commercial and the property, and then the substance request is rezoning. Mr. Swain?
Well, you've done a pretty good job of hitting the overview of it.
Okay.
In your mind's eye, this is to the southwest of 66 and 27. They wish to operate essentially a commercial park in there. They will hook up to the city utilities if and as available at the time of development. This contract would be subject to the public approval process of comp plan changes of zoning changes and things like that. And so, you know, your applicant, March Family Holdings LLC, is interested in being in the city for its development rather than the county. Mr. Martz and Carl Poole are here if you have any questions about their proposed project.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
Much needed.
Yeah.
I think it's a great project.
I do too. And I know water's close by.
Water's not a problem. It's whether or not sewer will be there at the time they're ready to develop.
Okay. Well, we're hoping it will be. Mr. Vargas is not here for us to quiz him. So we can move on.
The money's there.
Huh?
The money's there for it.
Is it?
So, yeah.
Are you loaning us the money or getting?
Scott's personally endorsing it, so.
I thought maybe your bank was gonna help us
No,
out.
no.
For free.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Anyways, any audience want to speak? Sean or Carl, y'all want to have anything to say, or is everything okay?
We're hoping to say thank you.
Okay. Well, I need a motion.
I move to approve the proposed development agreement as presented and move forward with annexation, large-scale comprehensive plan amendment, and rezoning as presented.
Second?
Okay, I got a motion, a second. Hold the board.
Bishop,
Yes.
Avery,
Yes.
Mendel,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes, you're welcome. Thanks for this. We appreciate it. All righty, and the city administrator's business? None?
I do have one item.
Oh, that's right, you do. Go ahead. Go for it.
As each of you are aware, Robert Blackman and Scott McDonald sent us some correspondence back in August. Based upon that correspondence, each of you have been to an affordable housing project located in Brandon. I believe each of us were impressed with that project. And yesterday, myself, Robert, Scott McDonald, and Councilwoman Mendel had a Microsoft Teams meeting to talk about where we go from this point forward. That unsolicited proposal back in August could trigger an RFP process, an alternate RFP process, whereby somebody else could make an offer on those same properties. They are looking to do an affordable project on a part of this property, city-owned property, which is if you all are aware, the Quonset hut over on Amulwee, right next to the Parkway. And then the old power plant, they're looking to do some type of brewery distillery perhaps, with some maybe commercial space on it. Per our conversation yesterday, Blue Sky Communities is looking to apply to the state for this affordable housing project, and some milestones have to be met by August, essentially, of next year. Of those things, a purchase and sale agreement for the property, proper zoning and land use, some forms to be filled out that would indicate that we have the ability to supply water, sewer, and roads to the site. Looking for a clean site or a phase 1 environmental of the affordable housing project site, a clean site or FDEP clearance for the power plant location. As you know, that was a remediated site. We don't have that clearance yet, and we're in communication with both the Department of Health and FDEP in reference to that. We'd also have to find an alternate solution for the Crown Castle cellular site. It would also require a $460,000 commitment by the city for this project. And then subsequently, we'd have to do some relocation of city facilities and departments to use other locations prior to the construction by Blue Sky Communities.
I think all of us were very impressed with the Blue Sky Affordable Housing community that we toured over in Brandon several weeks back. And I'm really very encouraged by the Blue Sky Group, Scott McDonald and the Blackman Group wanting to develop in Sebring. I believe we're going to definitely have development here, and I think that these individuals and their groups are very high-quality people to work with. And they've already, of course, Robert Blackman's already shown that he is very invested in our community. And I am just all for supporting them and making this happen. There are a few problems to overcome, but I think we definitely could do it. And I believe that that location, while it has some problems with mitigation and the cell phone tower, I think that it would be wonderful to have it developed in a positive way like this. And that would be another anchor to our city development in between. That's an area that really is not a very well developed area. And I think this could be a real positive thing. I'd love to see us move forward and see how to make this happen. And I believe the folks, Blackman, Robert, and Scott McDonald, are very agreeable. They're trying to work with us in every way. I think another thing to consider, which I'm amazed at in this very scary economic times and what the unsettlement in our country and in the world, that they're willing to take risk and come in. You know how hard it is for us with making a budget and the supply chain issues, how the prices skyrocket, all of that. So I want to do everything I can to encourage them. I would hate to lose this opportunity. And I think in talking with Mayor Shoup, he seems like he thinks that's a good idea. Not that I want to speak for you, but
Go ahead. That way I don't have to commit to it, so, no. It's a good project, so.
And I was very impressed with the facility we went to. That was a nice, very
That was
nice
nice.
place. Very nice. So.
And as I understand it,
Very
that's not their
professional.
only facility.
No,
That's
they have,
you
I
know
think they
they've
have
got
like
a
30,
history.
don't they?
Correctly, it was
40.
33?
30, I don't know, it's 30 something.
it's top notch. It's very
Yeah.
professionally run.
Very nice. And
managed
talking
and,
to the tenants,
yeah,
you
clean,
know, yeah.
a lot of amenities, so.
Very well
it's-
maintained.
That Blue Sky is, they're at the pinnacle, you know, of that industry.
Well, I think what they would like from us is just a show of confidence in them, and that we would like to continue down this path, as I understand it. They would just like to know that we're going to be trying to make this happen and expedite it along. And
Well, there's a lot of moving parts,
Yeah.
and the stars
Yeah.
all need to align here.
I mean, there's
Got a-
timeframes involved. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got there's a lot of city
New properties.
properties.
Yeah.
You know, we've got to figure out, you know, how to get it, but it's part of what Sebring is going to develop, you know, how we develop it like we want to develop it, so, and get the right partners in, which I think these people would be the best type of partner for this kind of housing and you know, what they want to do, so.
Scott, what is how fast do you think this FDEP clearance, when do you think that's will that take place?
I don't know the answer to that yet. We do have some communication in that would indicate we should be getting some communication hopefully back sometime this week
Okay.
as to, you know, what status that power plant currently is in from a remediation perspective.
Yeah, that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, and it was very near being a complete status
Okay.
at one point, so I don't anticipate that it should be a long period of time, but until we get some verification on that, we don't know.
Scott, are there going to be additional things that we're going to need to do? I mean, is that going to turn into a phase 2 environmental once phase 1's done?
So the power plant itself has already been through through that, and we've had mitigation wells on the property. So I'm just talking about the power plant itself.
Okay.
So, and there was a bloom underground that was headed towards the lake from that location. The phase one that we're talking about in the document here or the email I sent you earlier today has more to do with our Quonset hut, where our mechanic barn was,
Yeah.
et cetera, just to verify that the site doesn't have any environmental issues. As I understand from Scott McDonald, that would be part of the requirement in this process anyway. So it is something that we would want to get done for that particular site, which is separate and apart, I'm going to say, from the power plant issue or the DEP issue with the power plant.
So on that note, if I remember right, in last Central Florida Regional Planning Council meeting, we talked about this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is that something that you guys could help with too, or isn't there state funding whenever we do these phase one environmentals, or did I misunderstand that?
So phase one looks to see what the historic use of the property has been, and if there's no reason to move on into phase two, no reason to believe that there's contamination, that's all there is. You stop at phase one. If there's reason to believe there is contamination, that's when you have well monitoring, cleanup, and things like that. And there's typically funding available when you get to that stage. I believe the nature of the issue at the power plant is it was not something that was readily, it was a heavy metal that was sitting at the bottom, and they were monitoring migration, and not something like gasoline that floats to the top that you can clean over time.
Well,
So-
but
there
we
may be
were
more to
treating
it, but it-
it was being treated, and we did have facilities there at one point that were treating it. So the wells that exist now were monitoring wells that were placed after we had that equipment in place.
The phase one analysis of the Quonset hut site will take into the account the location of the presence underneath the old power plant. That may trigger a phase two on its own, it may not, we'll see. And then we can look into any, grant funding opportunities there are for any cleanup that may be necessary. But if the phase one comes back and shows there's no need to move on to phase two, that's where you stop there, and there is no testing and no cleanup.
The Quonset hut
In the-
was originally the city barn where they done the trash trucks, garbage trucks, stuff like that.
And that phase one is not really that expensive.
Okay.
Typically, that's, I'm gonna say probably in the $2,000 to $5,000 range
Right.
for a phase one.
Okay.
We had we have people from the audience. You have to come up. Tell us who you are.
I think what I wanted to say has already been covered, that, and I work for the power generation industry, Florida Power and Light, in the environmental department, and there's a process called clean closure. When they clean close a power plant, we've clean closed a lot of our power plants, you have to drill monitor wells and monitor, and that cost is part of the utility's responsibility. And you have to meet primary and secondary drinking water standards in all the wells, or prove that your background is such that you can't meet that.
Right.
So there should be a process already. It shouldn't be any impact on the city for funding for that.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
Frank Artisano, I live in Sebring. Just a quick question. Location, you're talking about this project, that project, but for those of us that are sitting here,
Scott, put the map up.
it would help if we knew where we're talking. You say the
Okay,
power
he's gonna
generator.
show you a map.
Thank you. Because it makes it so much easier when we're going, oh, okay.
You know where the old
this
power
street or-
plant- yeah, you know
No,
where the
if
old
we're
power
new to the
plant
area,
is?
we don't.
Okay.
That's why I
We're
said, thank
We're
you.
right there, where somebody can point it out to you.
Thank you so much.
And what's being discussed here are two different proposals for adjacent properties.
You know where the police station is?
So
It's directly behind the police station, 4 blocks, so.
this
down
section
Pine
right
Street.
here highlighted in blue, can you see the blue on the screen? Right? That's the old Park Street power plant. Also contains our
Why don't you,
water department.
why don't you bring it out in relation to the circle?
Yeah, bring it
Just
to
so
the
they
lake, maybe.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we know what, okay.
I was thinking it was the other one by the airport, by the racetrack.
No, this is downtown.
Yeah, I hear it now.
This is not far from here.
Yeah, this is downtown.
Between Park Street and Lakeview.
That was the original power plant for the city of Sebring. There was 7 or 8 diesel power units there.
So,
Warren, I hear every morning at 7 o'clock?
Yep,
Yep.
that's
On
where
that
it's
building.
at.
That's
It's
the
on
building.
that building.
so, and this portion over here is part of what's being proposed as well, but that is for the affordable housing section. Okay? So if you're driving by on the parkway, you see the city's old maintenance barn over here. If you look across the parkway as you're driving up the parkway towards Avon Park, if you will, on your left.
Thank you so much.
It would be nice to clean that area up. Yeah, yeah.
Ms. Marissa, did you have something you wanted to add to the
I
discussion?
mean, Bob answered my question on that.
Oh,
but
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree with Roland. I think there are a lot of moving pieces and things do need to come together, I think fairly quickly too. It's something I would absolutely like to move forward with. Talking with Dave with CRA, I mean, they would want to contribute to helping out this project too. I think it's going to be really good for Sebring, but again, it's contingent on a lot of things, and we got to make sure that our team's taken care of too, and we have the right property and the right land.
What are you
That's-
looking for from us, Scott?
Yeah.
Just direction to continue moving forward, or?
Direction to move forward. I guess one of my questions is, do you want to issue an alternate RFP on it to give others an opportunity to,
Is that required?
bid on development for the
You
property?
should, under the public-private partnership statute, it talks about receiving unsolicited proposals and then putting it out. Because you would be providing funding and city property, I think it's prudent to find out, is there anybody else that would be willing to do it, same terms, better terms, or nobody else? So it just gives you an understanding. It's a fairly short window. The moving parts, as you say, the cell tower and other things, and relocation of city facilities that's a much longer
Right.
process to resolve, so it can all happen at the same time. It's not being held up to go through a solicitation process like that.
Well, we can put that out there. There's no
Right.
commitment to do anything
Right.
with it. So it's just saying, okay, here's some properties. We had an unsolicited offer. What else can we, is there anybody else that may have
Right.
a different offer out there? So I
Right.
think that's probably not a bad move to do, is to take the first step, basically, is to see if there's anything, other interest in that property. And I think, both what Robert did and with Blue Sky, I think, it meets housing downtown, affordable housing downtown. And then also the retail side of it from the power plant, putting in, and it puts stuff back on the tax rolls too, for us.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably a step to say, okay, what if, can you help us out? And that'd be a way to go at this point in time, is to take that, at least, and it doesn't commit the city to anything, but it may give us some other ideas. There may be some better ideas, or, somebody else out there that's very interested in something like this, so.
So,
So
the proposal, is that two separate things though, since they're kind of putting it into a package deal? Or is
Well,
it
I
just how you
think,
work
I
it?
think they're two separate asks, or what they are.
They're not contingent on the other?
One is not contingent on getting the other one. Blue Sky's a different corporation than what the Robert Blackmans, or the Blackman family's
Yeah,
looking at, so.
Scott's looking for it from the perspective of the affordable housing component. He's starting planning for next year, and he's trying to make a determination as to whether or not they're going to submit an application to the state come next September for this parcel. And in order to do so, he needs commitments on most all of the items that I've included in my email by August, no later than August of next year.
Well, we can get the proposal on, the request for a proposal, get that in process, and then work on the rest of these. We can guarantee them utilities and roads.
Yeah,
so.
that's easy.
least
But to
there's
get the
someplace.
stars lined
There
up
are
as
certain
Bishop
things we
said.
could take action on. I
Right.
don't know that we would, start on the, rezoning of the property quite yet. But, at some point, between now and then, if things are looking positive, then we can start moving down that direction as well.
So the key items are to open up the RFP, talk to the cell tower people, and try and find a new home for city employees.
You probably get your department heads together, look at the whole situation too, to see what the actual needs are, so to make sure that we're
And the
just
D-
not planning for today, but planning for the future.
And the DEP piece.
CEP's critical. yeah.
Right.
Which, we'll have information Thursday from what I understand.
Okay.
Where we're at.
Okay. Well, he said, it's a lot of stars line up, we have to start somewhere,
Yep.
So start with the RFP.
so go for it.
You know, too, this would really beautify
That end.
what is a eyesore now. This would really be nice. I can't tell you how impressed I was. Well, you all saw it,
Yeah.
so. But I think we can work out all these things, and, you know, there's just always problems when you're working on something like this. And Roland, I understand you've been real influential in trying to locate some other properties for us, and
We're-
thank you very much.
We are trying.
Yeah. So,
Okay, thank you. Well, you know what to do, Scott.
Certainly.
Move forward.
Do we need a motion?
Okay, thank you.
This one?
Huh?
Do we need a motion?
No, we'll bring back
Okay, I just want to make sure.
to the station.
Okay, thank you. Okay, last but not least, there, Miss Kathy Haley, our city clerk.
I have a couple of things tonight. The first one is to pay the bills, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second.
I'm sorry, you need a motion.
Harrison motion, I second.
And I'm sure we want to pay them. Nobody's going to say not to, so hold the board.
Fisher.
Yes.
Avery.
Yes.
Mendel.
yes.
Carlisle.
Yes.
The second thing I have is to announce a couple of vacancies on our boards. The first one, planning and zoning, we have 4 regular vacancies coming up as of December 31st. And there's also 1 alternate vacancy. To be a member of this board, you must be a resident of the city of Sebring or a non-resident of the city but have an ownership interest in real property and a resident of Highlands County. As of December 31st, there will be one regular vacancy and 1 alternate vacancy on the city's code enforcement board. There are also 3 current open vacancies as of right now. So that'll be 4 open vacancies for regular members and 1 alternate vacancy. These have to be a member of this board. You must reside within the city limits of Sebring, so that's pretty limited on who can apply for that board. The vacancies are posted on the city's website. Anyone interested, they need to get the application off the website and present it to me, and vacancies will be open until filled. So I always like to stress that because some people get we do the vacancies and we appoint, and then somebody comes in like a month later and doesn't realize that the vacancies are only open until filled. So,
And Kathy, I have a question now.
yes, ma'am.
On, it has 4, like the planning and zoning, 4 regular vacancies, but people that are on there may want to stay on? Is that correct?
They have to reapply. It's not.
Oh, okay.
As Attorney Swain, I think, said at one other time, it's not like a reappointment because it's a brand new appointment. So they're
Okay.
not reappointed. They have to reapply, resubmit their application, and all of these people have been made aware of that. So all
Okay.
the ones that are currently on there that their vacancies are coming due have been made aware of that they have to submit. And most of them have been on there a long enough time that they're aware of that anyway. But they do have to submit an application. They are not reappointed automatically.
Okay, and one other quick question. On, to be a member of this board of the planning and zoning, if they don't live in the city of Sebring, they can have an ownership, they can own real estate within the city?
They have to own real property, and they have to be a resident of Highlands
Oh,
County.
yeah, that's-
So they can't just own property but live in,
up
well,
north somewhere,
they have to
yeah.
live at least in
Okay.
Highlands County.
That's all for me.
That's all I have.
We are done. Thank you for coming.